In a recent study, 52% of Canadians said they would like to give and receive fewer gifts during the holidays. And 24% said that most of the gifts they get during the holidays are useless junk. Over the past 3 years working in client homes, we have seen the real life results of gifts that just become clutter and overwhelm. Today I'm sharing 25 gift ideas with 0 to low clutter, so that this year you and your family can have more joy this holiday season and less clutter. I've separated my list into ideas for adults and kids. I'm gonna start with kids and then move to adults. Otherwise, there's no particular order, and honestly, there's a lot of crossover between the two categories anyway. I have seen so many versions of this first idea over the last couple of years. There are yes days, choose your own adventure days, simple play dates. Gift idea number 1 is just organizing a day together with you and your child, or whoever the gift is from. If this sounds like time consuming or a lot of work, it does not have to be. Last year, we gifted the most basic version of this to one of Leo's friends for his birthday. All we did was we created like a little 1-page sign that acted sort of like as the gift card for the day. It was a summer birthday, so we ended up taking him to the beach. We already had a beach pass, so really the only thing it actually cost us was just getting a few snacks at the canteen. The kids had so much fun and there was no extra clutter at the end of the day. This time of year, another cool idea could be doing something maybe over New Year's Eve. You could have like special snacks, maybe go tobogganing, watch a movie, just something fun and simple. I can tell you from experience that they don't care what you do. They usually just want your time and undivided attention. Next up is something that is totally free and one of my favorites. One of my favorite ways to reduce clutter in our home is by borrowing books from the library rather than buying them. And the library has also been one of our favorite pastimes since the kids were babies. So both Christmases when the kids were turning like around 4 or 5, we gifted each of them with their own library card. At our library, they have like special cards for kids that are a little bit cute, and then the kids get to sign their signature on the back, which when you're 4 or 5 is a pretty big deal. And my kids are now 7 and 9, and they still love the idea of having their own card. Like sometimes they'll grab it and they want to stand in line by themselves, check out their own books, and just like do their own thing. And like I said, in our library anyway, these cards are free. So this is an amazing gift if you have a little one and you're on a budget. Next up is another free idea. Our oldest, Leo, is just turned 9, and he got some cash for his birthday, and he now has over, I think, $100 or almost $100, which is probably the most money he's ever had in his entire life. And lately he's been asking a lot about getting a bank account. And idea number 3 is exactly that, a bank account just for them. And with this one, you almost get an extra bonus because based on my research, when you open a kid's account, especially for anyone like I think under 16 or 18, the bank basically gives you your first deposit. And I think it's sometimes over $100 or over $100. My plan for this one is just to book an appointment for the 2 of us to go in. But if you want to do it ahead of time, you could also just put the actual bank card, like wrap that up as something that they can open physically on the morning of Christmas. And if you want to take it one step further, you could include like a book about money management or allowance or savings or something like that. Next one we have been doing on repeat lately for kids' birthdays, and it's been a big hit. When we were doing a lot of birthday parties when the kids were little and everyone was like turning, 4 or 5, we would always gift them like the amount of money that's equal to their age. So if we got them a little gift and they were turning 5, then on the front of the gift or in the card, we put like 5 little loonies or a $5 bill or something like that. And it was always really fun. But more recently, we've been doing bigger amounts and kind of making the cash the main gift. And we've been doing this sort of cash in a box idea. So you tape all the bills together kind of lengthwise, you roll them up and put them into a little box or something. And as you pull them out, it's like this long strand. So it's kind of fun. I was inspired by a reel by Emily Norris. I will try to link it here, but it'll definitely be on her Instagram from, I believe, last Christmas. And it's a good one, so it's definitely worth checking out. But I took her idea and kind of took it one step sort of thriftier, and I started to use like just for the actual box, I just used like old margarine containers or yogurt containers, and I had the kids paint them and decorate them. So they were still kind of cute and colorful, but it's also kind of a way of saving money and also just kind of being a little bit better for the planet. I'm calling this gift idea number 4, Trash and Cash. And I highly recommend it. Here in Canada, our lowest denomination for an actual bill is only $5. So we can only do so many. But if you live somewhere where there's like $1 or $2 bills, then it would be even more fun because you could make it really long and it would be hilarious to pull all out of the box. Okay, next up is something that's been on my mind for a while. Earlier this year, we signed up Annie Rose for like cupcake decorating class, and it was very cute. It was at a local bakery, and it was a couple hours. We just dropped her off. She got to decorate some cupcakes. She met new friends. She got creative, and then she got to bring all the cupcakes home at the end of the day. And I haven't personally done this yet, but I just kept thinking how this would be a great idea for me to gift, like for one of her friends, one of her little friends for their birthdays. Gift idea number 5 is just some sort of class or lesson. And the bakery is obviously just one example. It could be anything that your kids are interested in. If there was like a one-day hockey clinic or something that I knew Leo would love, that would be perfect for him. Or in our area, they have a lot of those new shops where you decorate pottery. I feel like there's a name for it, but that's like a big trend right now, and I know Annie Rose would love that as well. When I was in my 20s, my dad and I did a cooking class together, which was hilarious because everyone else was actual couples and we were a bit of an odd couple, but it was super fun and I still remember it today. And this is something you could sign them up for on their own, or it could be something that maybe you do with them or that they do with a friend or cousin or sibling. Number 6 is another one that could work for kids or adults. For Leo's 8th birthday, I selfishly needed a break from planning kids' birthdays. I find them exhausting and stressful and honestly full of clutter. So instead, what we did is we rented the local ice pad at the hockey rink, and we did it early on his actual birthday, and me, Annie Rose, Scott, and Leo all went, and the boys kind of like shot the puck around, and we all just skated for an hour, and we just had that like hour all to ourselves, and he felt really special, and it was a really fun day. Number 6 is just renting any kind of cool venue. In our town, our YMCA has like a tree house, they call it, where it's just sort of like an indoor jungle gym. And I know both my kids would love to rent that out and have it to themselves for an hour. You could even combine this idea with friends or cousins and even do it maybe right over the holidays. Next up is something I would personally hate, but I know most people would absolutely love. I have a crazy fear of heights and I hate amusement park rides, but because I know so many people love them, I think it's so worth adding to this list. If you have an amusement park in your area, a day pass would be such a cool idea for so many people. And obviously over Christmas, it is cold here in winter. You could either gift it for spring, a day pass for the spring, but I also know that Canada's Wonderland opens, I think, for a period of time over the holidays, and they sort of have like a winter version of it just for a few weeks, which would also be really fun. Next, we are back to a couple budget-friendly options. One of my favorite Instagram accounts is called Junkyard Journals. I remember a reel she did that she made an Easter basket for their young daughter using only items that they already had in the house. And this one is perfect for kids who are really young and like don't really know what's going on, but still want to enjoy the excitement of the day. Idea number 8 is just regifting items that are already in your house. It sounds crazy, but I know when our kids were really little, we still felt sort of this pressure or expectation that we should get them something even though they needed absolutely nothing. And there were so many little things that I regret even buying because we just didn't need them. Okay, if you think that's a bit extreme, but you kind of like the idea or your kids are a bit older, then number 9 might be perfect for you. A few years ago for Christmas, my kids received this Connect 4, which is I guess like the knockoff of Connect 4. And I remember afterwards going on and on to my sister-in-law saying, wow, that was such a great gift. The kids loved it. They play it all the time. And she laughed and she said, oh, I just got that out of my gift closet. Her daughter, who's the same age as Leo, had a birthday in the summer and she'd received so many gifts from friends that my sister-in-law just basically opened a few for her to play with and the rest just all went into a closet hidden away. And my niece did not even notice they weren't around. And every time there's a birthday or a Christmas and she needs a kid gift, she just opens the closet and pulls something out. Idea number 9 is just regifting old gifts. Similarly, my other sister-in-law has gifted Annie Rose a whole collection of like Princess in Black books, which she adores. And I know that they just used to belong to my nieces, my other nieces. And I actually think there's something special about items that, you know, an older cousin used to use and you just sort of pass them down to younger and younger kids. Okay, number 10 is like a good follow-up to those ones. In past videos, I've shared a ton about how we're really into secondhand gifts. And this one doesn't necessarily always mean less clutter in your home. So I feel like I'm sort of cheating by including it, but I do strongly believe that it's sort of like less clutter and stuff for the earth in general. So I passionately think it's worth mentioning. And idea number 10 is really just gifting secondhand items. If this is new to you, it might sound and feel really weird, but honestly, once you get started, you'll never look back. We've already bought a bunch of secondhand things for the kids this year. We got like an Archie for his stocking, another little book that I know he'll really like, just like a graphic novel type of thing. We've got him a pair of rollerblades that we got off Marketplace that I know he's just going to love, and they're like in basically perfect condition. If this is new to you, just even adding one secondhand or used item this year could be like a good starting off point to continue doing it. Number 11 is perfect for kids and adults of all ages. My kids are starting to get more and more gift certificates for places like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and the Bulk Barn, which is basically just like a candy store in their eyes, and they love it. Just the other day, Annie Rose was going to her friend's house for a play date, and she had a Tim Hortons gift card, which is like our baker's dozen, I guess, or what do you call, I forget the name of this in the States. What's the big coffee shop? Anyway, and she had a Tim Hortons gift card, and so she said, I really want to go get Timbits for us, and then she got 2 hot chocolates for her and her friend. It was very cute, and it was like an easy way for her to show, like, feel that feeling of generosity and thoughtfulness sort of on her own with her own sort of gift card. The thing is, if you're trying to control clutter, we have to make sure that the gift cards are for places for consumables, not just like a store where they're gonna buy more stuff and bring it home. And if you ever think like that gift is so lame, Mary, and everyone does that, because I sometimes doubt myself and think that, and then I remember, wait a second, if someone got me a Starbucks gift card any day of the week, I would be so happy and pumped. Like, there is never too many gift cards for foods in my mind. This summer, we took our family to a Toronto Blue Jays game, and it was so much fun. And the entire time, I just kept thinking how this would be such a great gift. And idea number 12 is just tickets to some sort of live event. It could be a concert, a play, a ballet, a car race, a sporting event. I did share on Instagram about how I felt like it was so expensive for us to go to the Blue Jays game. And so many people responded and said how they take their kids to sporting events that are in like the minor leagues. It's so much cheaper, but still a super fun experience. I know in our area, hockey is a big thing here, and we have an AHL team, American Hockey League, in our town. And so those tickets are a lot cheaper than, say, going to the NHL. So remember that live events don't have to be like going to see Bryan Adams live. It can be something super simple and super local. 2 Christmases ago, we took our kids to Ottawa over the holidays, and we went to the Children's Museum, which was so good, and we all still like talk about it all the time. Idea number 13 are just tickets to any museum. Or if they're close by to a museum and you have a bit of a bigger budget, then an annual pass would be something really cool as well. We live about 20 minutes from our local air base, and on that base they have like an airplane museum, which is actually really cool, and tickets to that is actually one of our gifts for Leo this year. He's like dressing up as a fighter pilot for Halloween, and he's like really into that mode right now, so I think he's really gonna love that gift. And if you're in Canada, most of the museums over the Christmas this year are free because of like a government program that they're repeating from the summer. So another great idea if you're on a tight budget and you just have to pay for like the adults in your life. Okay, let's switch now to adult mode, but remember, a lot of these cross over between kids and adults. 2 years ago, one of my gift requests from Scott was repairing my favorite necklace. I love this necklace. I've had it for over a decade, but a couple years ago, the clasp on it broke. And so for a few months, I just wasn't able to wear it at all. And I kind of thought I'd get over it. And I'm like, you know what? I just love that necklace. I want to keep wearing it. So he took it into the repair shop. He got a new clasp on it. And I think it cost him like $13. As soon as he did it, I was so pumped. And it was my favorite gift that year. And it felt like getting a brand new necklace all over again. So often in client homes, they'll have like a little pile of things that need to be mended. So like maybe clothing that needs to be adjusted, or a picture frame that broke. For Mother's Day last year, I asked Scott, there's sort of brick around our fireplace, or like tile, I guess. And I've always hated the look of it since we moved in 8 years ago, but I'm not a DIYer and I didn't want to be involved. So finally I just said, can you please paint that black? That's all I want. And I think it took him like half a day, and I think it cost $60. And every time I walk by, I'm like, yes, I love it. The next one's perfect if you love like sentimental gifts. When Scott and I first started dating, it was probably like our second Christmas together. I had a local sewer make a big quilt out of all of Scott's old like sports shirts and sports jerseys from public school and high school. And it's so cozy and it's so fun to look at all the time. Idea number 15 is just creating something with old keepsakes. Another idea was a few years ago, I cut up my wedding dress. It was in terrible shape and I finally accepted no one was gonna wear it again. There was nothing you could do with it. So I cut up the fabric, but I wanted to keep some of the fabric and use it for something. So I actually had a baby blanket made for Leo, and the trim of the baby blanket is all fabric from my wedding dress. So it's like an actual usable blanket and it's very lovely and soft, but it also has that kind of sentimental part to it. And then once Annie Rose was born, I did the exact same thing, and her blanket I think is actually just thrifted. I thrifted it for like $3.50 or something. And then I had my mom sew on like the wedding dress, the kind of satiny fabric for the trim, and they're actually super soft. And so that's something that they can have forever, and it's sort of sentimental to me and to them. And you don't actually have to do anything with the keepsakes. When everyone moved out of our family home, I ended up getting a lot of like our family keepsakes and things from our childhood. And one of the things we got were a ton of these Bunnykins dishes, what my siblings and I had when we were kids. I ended up using them for my kids as well, and I love that. But I had so many of them, more than I needed. And so when my brother had his youngest daughter, I just wrapped up like a little cup and a little bowl and I think maybe a spoon, and I just gifted that to them. They could use that with their daughter. Okay, the next one is especially fitting this year because I feel like so many people are living with very tight budgets. There has always been people on my list that I know for a fact do not need anything. And one of those people was my aunt, who I was super close with, and she was more like a grandma. So I always really wanted to get her something, but I know she didn't need anything. So what I started to do was I donated money on her behalf. And she was a retired teacher. So what I tried to do, we'd always receive these Plan International, which I think it used to be called something different, like the foster parent plan or something. Anyway, and a lot of the gifts they have are very specific. So they would always have one, like, for example, you could get one that's like school supplies for a certain amount of kids, or you could get like school books for a certain amount, or like training for a woman for 1 month, or whatever it is. So it just felt like it was even more personal. Last year, we gifted Scott's parents on their behalf to our local food bank, and food insecurity is a huge thing in our area right now, and the food bank is really struggling. So that was, felt like a really good one. Next up is a super popular one, but I still think it's worth mentioning because everybody loves it. For probably 3 years in a row, we got Scott's mother a gift card to get her hair cut. And probably at least 20 times, I've got my mom a gift card for some sort of like spa or hair or facial or whatever. And similar to the food gift cards, every time I think to myself like, oh, this is such a lame gift, I remember what it's like whenever I've been gifted like a facial or a manicure, and I'm always so pumped. So idea number 17 is any sort of like self-care gift card. Every year on Annie Rose's birthday, my mom picks her up from school 2 hours early and she takes her for a manicure and pedicure. It's Annie Rose's favorite day of the year, and she talks about it and like counts down to it for months in advance. She feels so special that she gets to leave school early, and she gets time alone with my mom, and she usually suckers my mom to some sort of like smoothie afterwards or something like that. And it doesn't have to be like hair or nails. One year, one of our clients, our lovely clients, we did a big project and she gifted us vouchers for like an eye float. If you've ever done like a float, I don't know what those are called, like a float bed. It's eye float in our area. Anyway, it's a big new thing, and I would never splurge on it for myself, but it was so lovely and relaxing, and I was so grateful for that gift. There have been so many years when I've asked Scott for a gift card for like a gym membership, or maybe like 6 weeks of a hot yoga session, something like that. If you know anyone who's like a self-care junkie, this is a great one. We live in a relatively small town. However, we are just like 20-30 minutes from an area of the province that's become this like huge tourist destination, which means we have a ton of amazing restaurants in our area. Idea number 18 is just a gift card to a restaurant. However, making it one that either you know that person absolutely adores or that you know they've been wanting to try. And with this one, I think it's important to remember that you don't feel like you need it to cover the entire meal. I remember forever thinking like, I can't get a $50 gift card at a restaurant where I know it's gonna cost 2 people $100 to eat. But I still think that if you know these people are probably gonna go out to eat anyway, why not having half their meal covered? Isn't that still a treat? Another fun one this time of year is doing like a gift voucher for a Christmas tea, like a high tea. I think that's so lovely, really anytime over sort of like the winter. A couple of years ago, Scott and his sister went in together and got their parents a gift card, or just paid for family photos. We all got together that fall and we all had pictures taken, and now his parents have recent beautiful photos with all of their grandchildren and all of their children. Number 19 is a family photo shoot. And I know we also received a photo shoot as a gift when Annie Rose was first born, and it felt like such a treat to get those pictures when the kids are really teeny tiny. Next up is something that kind of feels a bit splurgy, but if you have a couple $100s in your budget, it can be an amazing gift. My sister, who lives in Sault Ste. Marie, which is very far north from us, has gifted both my mom and me airplane tickets to fly up and see her, which is a huge blessing because driving to Sault Ste. Marie any time of year, let alone in the winter, is pretty much a nightmare. Idea number 20 is a plane or train ticket. And remember, it does not need to cover the entire flight. This year we're planning to take the kids to Toronto and we're hoping to take the train. And so our plan is to make the train tickets part of their Christmas gift. And technically they're also free over the holidays because of the same government program as the museums. However, we do have to pay for us as adults. So it's definitely still a gift for us all to be able to go. Next up is another great one for anyone who loves to travel. For my 40th birthday, my sister and brother got together and got a hotel gift card for me. And we took the kids, all four of us went to Toronto overnight. Something that felt so big to us because we were at a stage where we weren't traveling with the kids. So one night in a hotel was a really big deal and it was very new for them and very exciting. Idea number 21 is just a hotel credit. And I've never actually done it with Airbnb or whatever you use for where you're renting your spots, but I'm sure they have a similar thing where you can buy a voucher for Airbnb. And again, it doesn't have to cover the whole thing. Even $100 of Airbnb, if you know someone who loves to travel and go on trips and is always booking through Airbnb, getting $100 on their next trip is a pretty sweet gift. I have one friend who is a huge traveler, and last year she was gifted a gift card from Guess Where Trips. It's a fun service where you can enter all your guidelines, like how many people, what location you want to go to, what time of year, what are their ages, and they basically just plan this really cool, unique day trip for you. This is number 22 on my list and would be great for anyone who loves like little adventures. Last year, my sister and brother-in-law came to visit us in the summer and they didn't have a car with them at the time. So they borrowed like our cars a couple times or we drove them to the beach once. It was not a big deal at all. However, my brother-in-law is one of those people that just like can't not gift people things and he's so generous. A few weeks after they left, I ended up with a gift card in my email for car detailing. And it was a mobile guy, so he actually came to our house, cleaned the car. It felt like brand new. He was here most of the morning. It felt like such a luxury. And idea number 23 is just car detailing. But if that's out of your budget, I know in our area, we've got the new car washes where you can do a monthly membership. Big new thing in our town. So if you have someone who loves like a clean car, I think it's maybe $20 a month or something like that. So you could either gift them a month worth of it, or you could, if you had a bigger budget, you want to gift them an entire year of it, that would be great. I know Scott loves car washes, so even a single car wash would be a great gift for him. Next is also a maintenance idea, which you know I love because care creates contentment. Number 24 is getting a house cleaning session. I gifted this to myself right after I went back to work after my second mat leave, and it was glorious. I remember I came home from work by myself when no one else was home, and I just walked around the house and looked at everything. I felt like choked up because I was just so grateful for coming home to this. If you have someone who loves a clean house, but either is in a really busy season of life, or maybe they now have physical limitations, having someone hired to come clean their house could be such a blessing. Similarly, we always have usually around one client per year that has been gifted our services of our team to come in to organize and declutter their home or parts of their home. And it's always a fun job because they're always so grateful and excited about it. Okay, next up is my last idea, and it's probably the most classic. I remember when I was in high school or like in my 20s, and I remember hearing about employers gifting their employees food, like a turkey or ham for Christmas. And I thought it was so bizarre. Like I remember thinking like, this is so old fashioned. Like what year is this? But the second that I had kids and a husband and I started to be responsible for feeding them all and paying for all these groceries, I thought to myself, that is the best gift ever. Number 25, my final idea is food. And this can look like a lot of things. It can be homemade casseroles, it can be homemade muffins. After Leah was born, one of my best friends brought over takeout from a local Greek restaurant, and Scott and I still like just think about how amazing that meal was. Last year we were invited to a Secret Santa exchange. We brought a gift card for the local butcher. Any type of food, especially if you're gifting to a family with young kids, it's something that they can feed their family, like priceless. All right, there are all my ideas. Most importantly, I just recommend getting what you know that person wants or what they would love. And I know, especially when we're gifting for kids, we just want them to feel loved. And I know even with us, as much as I love a simple Christmas and low clutter gifts, every single year on Christmas Eve, I set everything up and then I stress this isn't enough. It doesn't look like enough. They're gonna be disappointed. And every single year, they run down the stairs and they squeal and they rip everything open and they think it's the best thing in the entire world and everything we get them is just incredible.
Oh yeah,
that goes with the comforter.
Daddy, guys, thanks.
If you're looking for more gift ideas, I will link a video right here of past Christmas gifts we've done, and we've done them on a pretty tight budget. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and keep an eye out this month for lots of pre-holiday decluttering and purging and simplifying. All right, see you next one. Bye guys.